Okay, so here's another unboxing of an old Star Wars figure, and this is the Ralph Mcquarrie concept Darth Vader. Yeah, it's based on the concept artwork done by the artist Ralph Mcquarrie, who I'm a big fan of. Always really loved just like even just separate from the movies, like looking at his designs that he did for the movies, and it's some gorgeous stuff. Uh, Obviously it went through a lot of changes as far as like between the design and what we wound up getting. You can look at Darth Vader here and you can see like the snout of the helmet of the mask in the front is much longer, the nose part is more pronounced, the flares on the sides of the helmet aren't quite as long, that sort of thing. But there's two different heads in here. We're going to take a good look at both of them, and man, I don't think it's really coming across on the camera, but the package of this is like really yellow. It's like really badly yellowed. I know a lot of people might be horrified to see me open toys from God, when was this? 2007. So it's about 13 years old at this point, 14 years old maybe. Uh, but it's when a package gets this yellow, you might as well just open it. It's probably gonna shatter on its own eventually anyway. But it is adhering to the cardboard awfully well. They did a whole series of these, like pretty much every major character from the first movie. Uh, it's weird because like a lot of the characters that they did aren't necessarily the characters that he was designing. Like, for example, the Luke Skywalker figure in this line is actually Deke Starkiller, would have been the brother of Luke Skywalker in that particular draft, because Luke himself was still called Luke Starkiller. I think he was called Luke Starkiller up until they started to shoot the movie. There we go. Get the lightsaber out first so I don't drop that. And then we'll take out the second head. There we go. And then we'll take out the figure itself. Now, he's held into this package with some rubber bands, but guess what? Since the thing's like 13 years old, those rubber bands have disintegrated, so I don't have to worry about those. At least I don't have to worry about cutting them out. And you know what? His hand just fell off, straight out of the package. So I've got to find where his hand went. Where did you go, hand? There it is. Yeah, but there's part of the rubber band on my finger. Thing just disintegrated. It's gross. But yeah, the hand just popped right off in the package. There we go. I think I got it back on now. I think it's going to stay on pretty well. So his arms are these kind of weird joints like they were experimenting with at the time, where it's not necessarily like a ball joint at the elbow like they would get to later, but it's kind of a hinge that's at an angle. So it kind of makes it so you could get it to where he should be able to hold the lightsaber in two hands, but then this part comes off. You want to be really careful with these when you're moving them around so they don't pop apart, apparently. So, but yeah, so not quite as sophisticated as the injected molded joints they would get to later, which are much better, but still, at least they gave you a little bit of extra articulation. So, he's got two different heads, like I noted, and the head that he's wearing in the actual package is, this one I believe is based on the helmet as seen in the, on the cover of the Star Wars novelization that Mcquarrie did. Not to be confused with the more common version where it was one of the movie poster concepts they used, but this was actually one that was made specifically to be the cover. It was the very first edition of the novel. So he's got a rather large neck peg there, so it's very easy to swap out the heads. I'm going to put this other head on there. This is the head that was based on the one from the artwork on the packaging, which was the picture of him fighting Deke Starkiller. So, and then he's got his lightsaber, which is blue, because it was blue in that painting. And he's got one more accessory, which might surprise some people, which is he has a blaster pistol blaster pistol in his holster. Now, you got a little warped while it was in the holster, but I might be able to straighten that out later. And even though I don't think you can see his blaster since it's in the holster in the painting, it does look very Mcquarrie-esque. It definitely fits into the aesthetic of the figure. So he does have the injected molded joints at the knees, which surprises me. Like, I would think that they would put more effort into articulating the elbows really well, but no, they put the best articulation into the knees, and it's this weird cut articulation at the elbows. Odd choice. Very odd choice. So, and I don't know, it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like it has quite as much glide as it should. Maybe because it's older plastic and it's just been in that package for so long. I might see if I can, clean it up some, and maybe it'll work a little better. So he's got a fabric cape, which is held around his neck with a silver string to simulate the chain that, holds it around his neck in the movie. He pretty much looks like what you imagine Darth Vader should look like. Like, he was already pretty much about where he was going. He was already about where he wound up in the movie. You can see the box on the front of the chest, and the cod piece, and the boots are all very similar, though not 100% identical to how he looked in the final movie. So it makes for a pretty cool Darth Vader action figure, even if it's not 100%. He's got the injected molded joints at the ankles, too. So they put this stuff in at the ankles, and they put this stuff in at the knees, but they didn't bother to put it in, like, where the kids are probably going to get the most articulation, which is the elbows. That's just peculiar to me. And like I said, the wrists came off pretty easily. I don't know if that was by design, but yeah, let's go ahead and put the lightsaber back in his hand. I gotta pull more rubber band off of those. God, those rubber bands are awful, guys. You just need to stop using them entirely. I've had a lot of action figures lately that, as I've been taking them out of their packaging, I've noticed haven't had the rubber bands, and that's a good call. Just don't do those rubber bands, man. Especially since I said, I'm dealing with this one, and I can't really, it's just disintegrating all over the place. So his hand wants to come off of his arm really easily, but the hand's not wanting to quite open up well enough to hold the lightsaber. And the lightsaber handle is, I think, pretty thick as far as the lightsaber handle goes. But honestly, you'd want this one to be pretty thick because the hilt, where the emitter is, it's actually supposed to be a flat disc that's about the size of the palm of a man's hand. So they want it to be accurate to that. I really hope that these rubber bands, I don't think they did, but I'm hoping they didn't do any damage to the plastic. I'll have to take a better look at that later. And his arm came off again. His forearm keeps wanting to come off. I don't know why they didn't just use the injected mold. See, at first I was like, well, they'd use the injected molded parts because they didn't have those yet. They hadn't really invented those yet, I guess. But since they had them at the knees and the ankles, obviously they had, so I don't know why they didn't use them here at the elbows. So you can get him into a two-handed lightsaber holding position. One more surprise about this that I'm going to show you, and I guess it's appropriate that I'm wearing this shirt, is he actually has scalloping along the edge of his cape like Batman. And I'm not sure if Ralph McQuarrie actually designed it that way, but it's pretty funny. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this figure. It's a really nice figure, and I'm glad I was able to get one for a pretty decent price. If you collect Star Wars figures, and specifically if you collect Darth Vader figures, I'd say this is a good one to have in your collection, but it's probably not 100% necessary because, like I said, there's a billion Darth Vader figures, and you're probably going to want one that's accurate to the movie, if nothing else. But for those of us who really like the old school stuff and really like the Ralph McQuarrie artwork, I'd say then this becomes an essential figure. This would probably be one of the most essential figures if you were going to buy any of the Ralph McQuarrie Star Wars figures, this would probably be the most essential, except for maybe R2-D2 and C-3PO, who come together in one set. Oh, and there is one more accessory I forgot to show off, which is he comes with a little aluminum coin, like we saw in the old Power of the Force, the old Power of the Force figures. I don't know if I can get this at an angle where like the light's not shining on it, but it's basically like it's pretty much like the same image that we see on the package. And then on the back, it's just got the Imperial insignia there. And it says, Star Wars, A New Hope, 1977 to 2007. So, there you go. So that's pretty much it for this episode. And I'll talk to you next time. Take care.